All systems go. Cleared for takeoff.
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the first ever MMA show over here at SHIPIT Nation. We are excited to get this product launched over at SHIPIT Nation. Started out not offering MMA, and we made it clear. We said, we're only going to offer a sport if we have the proper team in place in order to cover that sport. And that situation for us changed with MMA this week, bringing on the GOAT in the industry, a guy that has built his name up quite a bit following MMA, producing quality content, producing winners, not only for himself in the MMA streets, but also for people that follow his advice. Super thrilled to introduce my guy, Title. What's going on, Title?
Hoop, man. Good to be back. Good to be talking sports with you. Nothing better than talking some fights. Pay-per-view, too, to start it off. I appreciate those words, GOAT. I don't put myself in that category, but always grinding, watching fights every week. Very excited about this. Very excited about the content we got rolling out. All my content will be up on the site. You get the cores, you get the rankings, you get my fight breakdown as well. A little shorter than sometimes usual, but it gets all the information right away. You need 15 minutes before lock. You can head to the site. Every single fight will get a breakdown, core plays, get the underweight tags, all that good stuff. So, man, I'm pumped to be here, pumped to be talking some sports with you, Hoop. And yeah, I see a lot of familiar faces in chat. I appreciate all the support. Man, I'm excited to dive in. 11 fights, though. Not the best pay-per-view. Probably actually one of the worst pay-per-views. Got some good fights. Charles Oliveira, always fun. Amanda Nunes. But DFS-wise, 12 fights or more, usually the sweet spot. 11 gets a little tougher. Some big favorites. The dogs are a little tougher to come by. It's not going to be a card like last week where you're leaving $3,500 in salary and your lineups look good. It's a little tougher to leave salary. Like I said, big favorites. But what do big favorites even mean in MMA anymore? Last week, biggest favorite on the card, Jamie Malott, on his way to a big score, and then, goes to sleep. But, excited to talk some fights with you, Hoop. Glad to be here.
Yeah, Malott was like 90% owned in like some of the high stakes stuff. It was insane. I mean, his price tag, 6,700 minus 400 to win, and then just dominated the first round, then just gets put to sleep. So that was interesting. It was an interesting slate last week. This week, not as much. I mean, obviously for a pay-per-view card, someone that's a somewhat novice to the sport. I mean, I've been kind of following it for 3 years, but
don't sell yourself short. No. You've had plenty of big wins. You watch some when you can. Hoop knows this stuff too on this.
I've been watching it, but honestly, in terms of my knowledge of the sport, it's all honestly based around your content. I look at your stuff every single week and then put it into my lineup building process. So I'm still learning my way. I know the big names, obviously. Yeah. I know the headliners. But, in terms of pay-per-view card, I was expecting a little bit more. But the nice thing is the prize pools are big on DraftKings this week. FanDuel, they don't do a ton with their MMA product. But on DraftKings, we have some massive, massive prize pools. So it's going to be very important to dig into this slate and see how we can get ourselves into the winner's circle. Couple things. We have our winner of the annual package. We had the promo going once we got over 1,000 subscribers to the SHIPIT Nation YouTube channel. We're going to go ahead and give away an annual membership to someone that posted a comment in our welcome video. So we have that winner that I'm going to announce maybe halfway through the show. So make sure you stay on board here and listen. The other thing I want to do is kind of give you the opportunity to explain to the people what they can expect from our MMA product this week and moving forward. Obviously, we'll innovate, we'll change, improve our product along the way, but tell the people what they would get if they head over to SHIPIT Nation and look up our MMA product.
Yeah, right now I'll go right on our website. So we got something called the MMA Core Report. You'll get my main DraftKings GPP core. I'm more, it depends. Each week it depends. I'm more of an MME guy, like 150 in the big 18 or 20, $25, whatever it may be. But sometimes I do like this week, I think it's mainly more of I like single entry a little more than usual with MME. So if I do throw that in the 555, you get my FanDuel GPP core as well. Like Hoop said, prize pools aren't very great on FanDuel. I play cash games on FanDuel, though tournaments are tough to come by. But if you are in FanDuel, get a GPP core there too. 3 guys on both sites there. I give you a DK cash core, always in the cash streets, give you a FanDuel cash core as well. So get the core plays, that stuff. Go over, you get rankings. We have it broken down 8,600 and above. List my favorite fighters in order, get a little breakdown, just like we do for MLB and stuff. Like a sentence, something like that, why they're ranked there. 7,700 to 8,500 right in the mid-tier. Give those rankings, then $7,600 and less as well. So that'll be in order from my favorites. Then you go down, slate info. That's the free piece of content that we have in all sports here. That's just the basic. You want the DK pricing. You want the FanDuel pricing, the fighters in order. The odds are there, the inside the distance, what weight class and stuff. So basic information there. Then the good stuff, the MMA slate plan. Again, all this will be up on the site today, but it's the same as the slate info. It's fight by fight. And that's where I make my highlights. We have a core section, my 3 core plays, whatever that is. I'll be highlighting them in blue, overweight tags, underweight tags, and then fades. I make my slate plan in MMA. I consider the MMA sport mainly. I really like that $3 20 entry max contest. They run a $1 150 max contest. If you're a smaller bankroll, you only want to throw 20 lineups, something into that. I prefer multiple lineups over one entry. So I build my the slate plan. I build it based on you're playing 20 entries. So I usually try and have about 4 fades in there, 4 to 5 fades. Usually get a fight fade. You can't play every single player in the roster when you're only playing 20 teams. Break down every single fight. Talk about how much volume they throw, whether it's a clash of styles, everything I think you need to be prepared going into the slate. Assuming you know nothing about MMA, if you read that whole slate plan, my goal is you can watch the fights and have an idea what to expect, at least how I expect the fights to go down. But yeah, how I approach everything for DFS, go underweight on the fight if I'm going to fade it, not have any of them in 20 entry below and stuff. So that whole breakdown is how I approach 20 entry max and below. Of course, I play 150 teams too. I'm not fading 5 people in 150 teams, but I assume most people out here aren't all playing 150. So that's kind of how it's all broken down. Any questions, game theory, anything, I've always been in the Discord. People already asking me questions and stuff. You can get there. So yeah, and it's our first week of rolling this all out. If you have any recommendations, something you guys wish you could see or something, always open to add stuff in that. So hopefully that was a good breakdown.
Yeah, absolutely. And yeah, the most underrated part is definitely the Discord communication in there, talking all the time. I mean, not only on the slate, but for future fights, and a lot of sharp people in the MMA Discord just chatting and pointing out a lot of line movement talk, tons of valuable information in there outside of just our written content. So if you do sign up, make sure to get into the Discord right away. Right now, it is $59 for the month. It gets you everything on our website, everything on there, one price, $59. And then if you want an annual package, $599. And this is also the last week, if you want to be a founding family member. If you sign up, you are considered a founding family member. You only have a few more days to do that. And that includes many benefits. The biggest one is our free rolls that we'll be offering at least $6,000 in free rolls committed to our founding family members in the first year. So a lot of added benefits to signing up now opposed to waiting. So make sure to get on over to shipitnation.com.
And I will reiterate, definitely get in the Discord. I mean, man, like I said, I've only been here for a couple days, just soaking it all in. But man, the community you guys have built so far, it's been awesome. And just being in the Discord, like right now, we're going to have NBA content, of course, when it comes up in next year and all that stuff. Right now, focus on MLB and all that. But our last game, game 3, hopped in the Discord like an hour early. We were talking hoops, dropped a little core, stuff like that. I mean, all the information, the content, the tools up on the site as well. But little nuggets in the Discord. Any questions, you have access to all of us. Man, that's always my favorite. So just want to say that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's just, man, it's a really good community in there. Like a lot of times you get in Discords and it's really hostile and you got idiots in there, just posting dumb shit all the time. Like this Discord, and I've said it numerous times since we've launched, just a really friendly environment to be in, which is weird when you're talking about places on the internet where a lot of people are interacting, but no issues really. So, that's something that we're going to uphold too. We're going to make sure that moving forward, this is a nice spot to be, and you don't have to worry about any negativity. That's our goal. All right, so we got 11 fights. We're going to the format of this show will be kind of fight by fight. And, I am the host. Title is the expert, all right? Host, expert. I know some of the guys, don't get me wrong, but, I am a host.
Until you ship 50K tomorrow.
But again, I need your information, though. I've only been able to win by reading your stuff. Like, I can't go on and just make a team without reading your stuff first. And I've had a lot of success in MMA actually over the course of the last couple of years, and I can honestly say I owe you all the credit. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go fight by fight. I'm gonna introduce the names. I'm gonna introduce the odds, the price tags, and then hand it over to Title. And he's gonna give you all the information you need. And then you're gonna want to come back, obviously, because he's still finalizing all the premium content where he puts in even more work and more information. So this is just the beginning part of the process to finding the MMA winner. So UFC 289 kicks off tomorrow.
And last thing to add about that is, like, a Saturday morning, I'll tag everyone in Discord and stuff, but that's mainly, we have so many with MMA now, like, people fall out the morning of, fights fall out and all that stuff. A lot of the time I build my final script on Saturday morning. So if anything changes or something, I'll tag everyone in the MMA Discord. Make sure you have your notifications if you do want that. But this is obviously most of it does hold true, but things change when you're messing with exposures. You see line movement, stuff like that. So always be in the Discord for the last update. But last time I'll interrupt you.
No, you're good. You're good. 7 p.m. Eastern start time, so a little bit later than we usually see. First fight up, we have a women's fight, 115 weight class. Maria Oliveira versus Diana Velveeta. Priced very similarly, 8,200 for Oliveira, 8K for Velveeta, and it's basically a pick 'em at this point, inside the distance. It's supposed to go to the judges. The price similarly on FanDuel as well. So, Title, what are we seeing here in this one? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so mainly fights like this, if you've been following me for a while, it's the classic low-level women's MMA, coin flip fights, supposed to go to decision. So you're parlaying, getting not only the winner right, but also them scoring enough to be on the optimal. So most people are already expecting, Title's going to fade this fight. It's actually not the case, though. I do think it does go to decision. It's second most likely on the card, but it's sitting right in that mid-tier, 8,200, 8K. Again, I don't think many dogs come through. Good amount of favorites. When you go to the really cheaper tier, it's tough to come by there. So I think salary, you're not going to be able to leave 1,000 plus. You can always leave 1,000. You're not going to leave 3,000 and build a good lineup. Salary is tougher on this slate, which makes me like this mid-tier a little bit more. And these girls, it's going to be a high-paced fight. Both girls throw good volume. Oliveira, 5.44 significant strikes per minute. Velveeta throws 6.43. It feels like in women's MMA, every strike landed they deem significant. I think the winner scores over 100 significant strikes in this one. I think it mainly stays on the feet, but if it does hit the mat, Oliveira's biggest kryptonite has been her takedown defense, sitting at 47%. Probably doesn't have to worry about this one. Velveeta is not much of a wrestler, which is why I do think it stays on the feet, but Velveeta might have some wrestling upside with just how bad Oliveira has been, if that's how she has, that's her game plan coming into this fight. But man, on the feet, I think these girls pretty much just trade in the middle, high-paced fight. I slightly give the advantage to Oliveira. I think she has more pop at the end of her shots, but this is a fight I'm going to be overweight on, which is usually the opposite how I approach these coin flip women's fights. But I think high pace, a lot of volume. I think it does go to decision too, but you can be looking right away 90 points, and I would sign up for 90 points on this card, 8,200 AK. So yeah, first fight of the night, women's fight. Usually not a fight I have much interest in, but this fight I definitely do. So I'll be overweight. I pick an Oliveira, but yeah, I'll probably be overweight on both. I don't think the ownership's crazy in this fight as well. Maybe both around something like 25%, 23%, both sides, something like that. So yeah, I like this fight to start.
Yeah, just kind of looking at the prices, looking at the odds, it does seem like you're almost forced to, like this one a little bit. The especially on these cards, these pay-per-view cards, a lot of times it's tough to sell yourself on the underdog. So I totally get it here. And we got our guy Tambo in the chat saying you can't wait to hear Hoop have to pronounce these names. Listen,
he's got it today.
Before. I got a couple. I've already, there's a couple that I'm definitely going to struggle with regardless, but I got some tips before Tambo. So stay tuned. Next fight on the card is what do we got? We got David Dvorak versus Steven
Erseg.
Yeah, see, I already messed one up. Yeah. It's a widespread in this one. Dvorak is favored minus 275. This one seems pretty close to a pick'em to go the distance, but Dvorak big boy price tag at 9,400. Erseg only 6,800. These expensive guys, you need big scores. A guy at 9,400, he's got to get in the hundreds for sure. Do you see that happening in this fight? And what's your overall thoughts here?
Yeah, no, I don't see it happening as much. So Dvorak, third biggest favorite on the card. He's the second highest priced fighter on the card. He was supposed to fight Matt Schnell, so Steven Erseg's taking this fight on short notice. He's making his UFC debut, taking it on a week's notice. I actually was pretty impressed when I was watching the tape. He does his best work on the mat, good grappler, 9-1, 6 of his wins are by submission. Striking has progressed a little bit too, so it's not a bum by any means making his UFC debut, getting the call. But David Dvorak, he's a tough fight. He's a good fighter. He is on a 2-fight skid, but Manel Kape, Mateus Nicolau, 2 great fighters there. So you get a big step down in competition for Dvorak, whereas you get a big step up in competition for Erseg. And I don't really think Erseg's going to be able to get the fight on the mat. I think Dvorak can keep it on the feet. Not at range, Dvorak's just a more crisp striker. I think the leg kicks add up, but I do think it goes to decision. I respect Erseg enough to hang in there. Dvorak, you're looking at him at 9,400. Like Amanda Nunes is 100 more. We're going to go get to the main card. I guess spoiler alert, I have more interest in a lot of these main card fights than I do the prelim fights. So I'll be hoping that the scores are better there. But yeah, a couple $100 you'll be able to save with a Mike Malott, a Dan Ige, fights that are expected to finish later. Whereas 9,400 for a fight I expect to stay on the feet, you're pretty much needing a round 1 knockout, maybe a round 2 buzzer beat or something like that. You can sneak in there. But more times than not, I think David Dvorak wins a decision, not enough for 9,400, and you don't really want much of this fight. So yeah, I'll be underweight on this one for sure.
What sort of ownership are you kind of predicting for Dvorak?
Yeah, I think he's going to be pretty low up there too, probably 20%. People always, on this 11-fight card, especially like with Amanda Nunes, she's definitely going to have all the ownership up top. People always play lower owned fighters to get different, which makes sense. But I think 20% he'll be one of the lower guys in the upper tier.
All right, very interesting. All right, next fight on the card, 2 guys that I can pronounce their name. We got Blake Bilder versus Kyle Nelson. And it looks like we got Bilder coming in as a minus 250 favorite. And this one is minus right around 200 to finish inside the distance. Bilder 9K, Nelson 7.2K. What do you like here in this one?
Oh, this is a good fight. I'm very excited for this one. Blake Bilder's 8-0. But man, that 8-0, his undefeated record's going to go, I think, sooner rather than later. He's a crazy fighter. He'll fight for your money, no doubt, but he deals with a lot of adversity. He's been hurt multiple times. You know he'll fight for your money because he's had to show it multiple times, getting hurt early in fights, battling back. Very, very good cardio, takes over as the fight goes, will break his opponent, which is a good fighting style to have when it comes to DFS. Kyle Nelson, on the other hand, it's been a tough UFC run for him. 1-4-1 in his last 4 fights, or 1-4-1 in his last 6 fights. He's lost 4 of them to start. He has a lot of power. So he's fought his beginning of his UFC career compared to his last couple fights. He's fought a different style. In the beginning, he came out there really aggressive. His cardio falls off a cliff the longer the fight goes. So he has a lot of power early. He was either trying to put away his opponents early, otherwise he was getting finished late, whereas he took more of a reserve approach in the past couple fights. I don't think he'll be able to do that in this one. I think Bilder will be in his face. Kyle Nelson has just as much upside, really, as anyone on this card, though. When we're coming to dogs, whether you get 4 points from an underdog or from anyone, pretty much, you get 4 points or you get 104 points. Like 4 points compared to 30 points means nothing. They're not going to be on the optimal MMA, how you play it. It's either first or last place. All the money's up top. Usually there's some splits up there. So once you get the nut lineup drop down compared to the second nut lineup, I mean, you can be talking about 50K going down to like $1,000. So all you care about is upside when it comes to MMA. Kyle Nelson has that upside. He has first round finishing ability. Bilder's been hurt. Nelson has power early. So I definitely have some interest in Kyle Nelson at 7,200. But man, if Bilder can survive the first round, I think he takes over in the second. I think he takes over in the third. Nelson slows down. Bilder gets better as the fight goes. Love targeting this fight in DFS, though. I'll be overweight. I'm going to pick Bilder. I mean, man, Nelson, he just has not been impressive so far. Less pass to victory. Again, it has to be early. He has to find the shot. I'll take the upside chance. He will be pretty low owned, but Bilder has all the upside at 9K. He's going to be one of the higher owned fighters in the 9K range. I think he comes in probably 30%, maybe 35, something like that. But yeah, I have interest. Anytime you get a guy that slows down, pretty bad cardio, picking the other guys a pretty good thing, because once cardio falls off, I mean, you're toast. Points rack up in a hurry.
Yeah. And it's these slates are difficult ones where there's just not a ton of value that stands out, and you're kind of forced to take some chances on these guys. You know, Nelson seems like a guy that we might just have to play by necessity if you want to get to the top range. If you want to play, you know, Amanda Nunes or you know, other people up in this upper range. So, yeah, I mean, he'll definitely be in my player pool, Nelson, and you know, I'm going to have some Bilder as well. Yeah, let's continue to hit that like and subscribe button. You know, we finally got over the 1,000 subscribers that we were looking for. Did it relatively quickly. Doesn't mean stop. Let's keep it going. Let's get it up there as big as we can. And like I said, you know, the more subscribers and activity, the more likes we get on the channel, the more free videos that we're going to be bringing to you guys. So please subscribe and like to this channel, get notified every time that we do go live. And, you know, moving forward in terms of this show, probably right around this time. Is that what you're thinking? Yeah. Friday afternoon, we're going to stick with?
Yep. I think right around this time will be perfect, because most of my MMA stuff is already done. All the research, of course, is already done, but a lot of the stuff's already up on the paper. But after this, finish that up. All my content will be up on Fridays as well. People ask afternoon. So Hoops on Eastern time. I'm on, I mean, it's 10:22 here, 1:22 by Hoop. Yeah. Tambo's even later. So the time zones are spread out still the morning over here, but all content will be up Friday. Thinking right around this time for shows. Yeah, I think that's a good time. Yeah. We got all the weigh-in information on this card. Most everyone made weight. I think Fugitt didn't weigh in or something. So I think it's a good time for all the people.
Yeah. Richie Smalls in the chat. Hoop, start practicing those next names. Good Lord. Yeah. I mean, it's this is the challenging one. And I did get, you know, I got some lessons from title before, but I've already forgotten this one. It looks like Aori Keeling and then Zahabi. How'd I do? All right, there we go. Perfect. So Keeling 8,300, Zahabi 7,900. Keeling's the favorite here at -138. You know, plus 135 to finish inside the distance. The price tags on these 83, 79, so pretty close. You know, similar spread to that first fight we talked about, where he almost needed to consider those guys by necessity, or those women. Is this the same situation? They're priced similarly. The odds are pretty close. Are we going to have to look at these fighters just by necessity for roster construction?
Yeah, I don't like this one. I prefer going to – that's why I like that first fight a lot more, this mid-tier. There's another mid-tier fight, 7,800, 8,400. I have more interest. So this is the mid-tier fight that I'm going to leave off mainly. I mean, you look at Zahabi. It's so hard playing this guy. He only lands 3.01 significant strikes per minute. He sits on his back foot. He'll counter punch. He's not aggressive. He has a knockout recently, but usually not much pop at the end of his shots too. Just not a guy that has a lot of upside. So Zahabi beats me. He beats me. I'll move on to next week. I feel pretty good about that fade. Won't have any in 20 entries or below. As far as the other side, Aori Keeling, yeah, I mean, he is high volume. He lands 6.07 significant strikes per minute, but he's more of a decision fighter. 9 of his wins, 9 of his 24 wins by finish, but 15 have come by decision. And just with how Zahabi fights off the back foot, I think it's mainly a striking match at distance. It is that we're in the bigger cage as well. We're not at the apex. We're at a pay-per-view, so more movement for Zahabi as well. I think it stays on the feet for 15 minutes. Aori doubles him up probably in the strike, so he probably gets a decision not that way, but don't love the upside in this fight. I would play more Aori Keeling for sure than Zahabi because of the volume, but no, I definitely like that first fight more. Not much interest in this one.
All right, we'll keep it moving. After this next fight, we'll be announcing the winner of the annual package from our giveaway. Once we got over the 1,000 subscribers, just had to go on to our channel, find the main intro video with title Tambo's mug on it, and put a comment underneath. So I'll be announcing that winner here after this next fight. We have Miranda Maverick versus, and when we talked about it before the show, Title told me just not even try. He said just say Jasmine. Jasmine. So we're rolling with Jasmine. We got Maverick versus Jasmine.
Jasmine.
There it is.
There you go.
Maverick, Miranda Maverick, the second biggest favorite on the card at -300. The fight is supposed to go the entire distance, plus 240 inside the distance. That's a big price tag for somebody that, where the fight is supposed to go to the judges. So it kind of makes it interesting. So I'm very curious. So in my eyes, when you're paying a big price tag for someone where the fight is supposed to go to the judges, you're going to need the takedowns. You're going to need a high-paced fight to be able to justify paying that price tag. Do we have that with Miranda Maverick, or are you viewing this one a little bit differently?
Yeah, very good question. Exactly like you said. When a fight's going to go to decision and it's 9,300, you pretty much need the wrestling upside, the takedown upside, unless they just throw Max Holloway type of volume. Miranda Maverick does have that path. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if she uses it, but I also think it's the easiest path to victory is striking. Jasmine's just vicious. Her best work is on the ground. She is a primary wrestler, is from Canada too. We'll have the home crowd there, but she is a wrestler. She's going to look for takedowns herself. Maverick has that pretty her takedown percent is bad. A lot of that is because of the Aaron Blanchfield fight where she just got mauled. So those numbers don't tell the true story. But I don't think Jasmine really has success getting the takedowns. Maverick, the much younger fighter, she's a stronger fighter, moves better on the feet. I'm not expecting Jasmine to have much success on the mat, so I'm not going to get to her in 20 entry and below. However, if you're playing 150, like, she will be in my player pool because she'll be one of the lowest owned fighters on the card, which makes you, when you plug in a 12% owned fighter, you can play Amanda Nunes, you can play Blake Builder, you can eat more of the chalk. And in MMA, you get different in one spot. That accounts for a lot. Jasmine, I don't think it's crazy if you're playing 150 lineups. Maybe she does get takedowns. Women's MMA, man. I wrote it up in this write-up, but it's burned me so many times. These dogs seem to always come through. Big favorites always lose. I don't learn my lesson. I'm not learning my lesson this week. I'm not getting a Jasmine in 20 lineups or less, but yeah, she is a wrestler. I don't think it's the craziest thing. As far as Maverick, though, she can get her own offensive takedowns in this fight. I think she will have success if she tries. 2.7 takedowns per 15 minutes she averages. But the problem is she just has such a striking advantage. I'm not sure she's going to take it on the mat. And if I'm not sure she's going to do that, well, I don't know how much 9,400 I want to have of her when I can just go and pay up 9,300, when I can find the 200 and go up to Amanda Nunes, or I can go down, say 400, 500. We're going to talk about these guys later. That's where mainly the top tier guys I have interest in are, that a fight's supposed to finish inside the distance, and these guys are favored to get a knockout. So Miranda Maverick, she's going to be lower owned in this range. I do like her more than like a David Dvorak, so I'll have more of her than him because she does possibly have that wrestling upside. But I think the easiest path, keep it on the feet for her. Don't even go to the mat. Don't mess with it. Win a 15-minute striking decision, not be on the optimal as much. So, another fight I have less interest in than the field. But you can make a case for Maverick. She'll be lower owned. She's a pivot off of Nunes, and it'll get you different, no doubt. And she has shown upside. But, I think it's mainly on the feet. Maverick by decision, not much interest.
Yeah, tough to justify that sort of price tag without, a crazy pace, crazy amount of takedowns, that sort of thing. If it's staying on the feet. But the one thing, though, the ownership should probably follow a little bit, though. Because she is the second biggest favorite on the card, right? people do look at that as a primary reason to play someone.
Yeah, I just think so many people are going to try and go to Amanda Nunes. We're talking last week. And then if you don't go Amanda Nunes, I think people are going to go Mike Malott, who's 8,800. We'll get to that. That fight is later. But minus 350, that fight is to finish, the most likely on the card, stuff like that. So you either go 9,500, you go 8,800. There's some like 9,100, stuff like that. So I think it's more of a dead range where, of course, she'll get some ownership, but 24%, something like that. On an 11-fight card, ownership, that's pretty low on this card for the top tier.
Yeah. All right. We're going to go ahead and announce the winner of the annual package giveaway. A lot of good comments. A lot of people went on with the hashtag SHIPIT and just posted that. And some people also posted some comments. So we definitely appreciate everyone that took the time to go on there and help build that channel for us, our Ship It Nation YouTube channel. So thank you to everyone who participated. And the winner of the contest is going to be Waller135. Posted the hashtag ShipIt, which was a necessity, but he also said, I never want to go through winning first in the night and waking up to the change stats on DraftKings for NBA. Again, I'm here for the advice. I will say DraftKings has done a better job with verifying the stats, along the way. A couple seasons ago, it was a disaster where it could be like a 10-point shift. They've done a much better job. Does still happen. And going through that is super, super painful. Like you can't replicate that feeling. It hurts bad. It hurts bad when you go to bed thinking you won something and you woke up and realized you didn't. But at ShipIt, the goal is to get you to the top. So far in first, where it doesn't even matter if there's a stat change. That's the goal. So come on over to Ship It Nation. You don't have to worry about that. But for Waller 135, hey, you won yourself an annual membership here. So make sure what you need to do is email info@shipitnation.com. And we'll get you set up with that package. So congratulations on the win. And also we want to keep this momentum going on the channel. So we'll probably do another giveaway here and maybe announce something next week at some point. But make sure to like and subscribe to the channel. We really, really appreciate your support. 5 down, 5 to go. We're getting close to the main card.
5 down, 5 to go. That math doesn't add up.
How many fights are there?
11.
Yeah, 5 down, 6 to go. See, that's why we got on our side here, title.
Basic math.
Yeah, basic math. Why was I thinking that there's 10 fights, 11 fights? I clearly don't know how to do math or pronounce many of these fighters' names, but
hey, you're doing good at that part. You got that part.
We'll find you the winners. That's all that matters. Title, we'll find you the winners this weekend. Next fight up, this one, I'm gonna struggle now for sure with this one. Imavov,
you got it perfect.
Imavov and Chris Curtis. 8,500, 7,700. Imavov is minus 150 favorite. This is basically a pick 'em to finish inside the distance. 185 pound weight class here, so some bigger boys. What do you got here in this one?
Yeah, another fight. I mentioned it pre-show. When we get the deeper we get into this card, the more I have interest. So a lot of my PMR, as we like to say in other sports, will be late. So I'll be looking poor early. A lot of my lineups will be on the left side. Hopefully they get in the money here. But, man, I think if this fight stays on the feet, I mean, it's a great real-life fight. Really excited for it like that. But when it comes to DFS, don't see it hitting the mat. You get 2 primary strikers. Chris Curtis, he's a slow starter. He's low volume early, but he's so durable. So I don't think Imavov is going to knock out Chris Curtis early. Imavov is powerful. Doesn't throw the most volume himself either. So I think this fight stays at range. Again, we're in the bigger cage. Chris Curtis counter punches. He eats some early, but he survives. This fight hits the second round. It hits the third round. I think it kind of looks like the Chris Curtis, Kelvin Gastelum fight like that. Chris Curtis, I give him the advantage later in the fight. I think Imavov has shown that he can slow down. Chris Curtis, he doesn't. He keeps his volume steady throughout the whole fight. But, man, don't love this fight when it comes to DFS. I think it goes to decision. Winner scores 75, 80, something like that. I'm debating right now, I have one of these guys as fades, one of these guys in underweight right now. Do I flip-flop them? I don't know. I think Imavov probably wins the fight, but on a card like this, $800, give me 75 in a win for Chris Curtis over 85 in a win for Imavov at 8,500, 7,700. That 800 goes a long way. So, yeah, more I'm talking through it, I probably would lean Curtis just because in DFS, because of that 800 savings, and you don't need as much to be on the optimal. But yeah, I don't love this fight as much. Yeah, it's a great real life fight. Yeah, great real life, but don't love the upside as much.
Yeah. All right, now 5 to go. Officially 5 to go now. At what point does the main card start? Is it the Ige fight or is it this one?
It's this one right here.
Okay.
I don't know why they don't have Imavov Curtis on the main card.
Yeah,
but
those are name guys. I don't even know those dudes. I was kind of surprised they're not in the.
Sometimes they do that in the feature headline, the prelims, get everyone in the building, stuff like that. But right here,
All right, so we got Andre, and I got this one. Barriault?
Barriault. Marc-Andre Barriault.
Close. Yeah. Barriault, and then Eric Anders. The spread in this one, Barriault is minus 150. This is another fight that's basically a pick 'em to finish inside the distance or go to the judges. 8,400, 7,800 are the price tags. What do you got here in this fight?
Yeah, no, this is a good fight to start. This is the other mid-tier fight that I was talking about. We get a clash of styles. Marc-Andre Barriault, he wants to keep it on the feet. He's a primary striker. He throws a lot of volume himself. He's a steady fighter. Coming off a very big win, put up a big boy score, landed over 100 significant strikes in 2 rounds and a finish there. Whereas Eric Anders on the other side, he wants to get it on the mat. Relentless wrestler. Used to be used to play football at Alabama. Nick Saban won a national championship. He averages 1.59 takedowns per 15 minutes. He's just a gritty guy. Can't slow down as the fight goes because, man, he tries to chain takedowns, make it grimy against the fence. That's why I love this fight, though. I think it's a high pace. Anders going to try and work his wrestling. If he does win this fight, I'm expecting multiple takedowns, some top control, and you take that any day at 7,800, especially on this card. However, I don't think he has as much success with it. If he does take Marc-Andre Barriault down, I think Barriault can get up at range. It's Barriault all day. He'll pump up the jab. He throws a nice leg kick, throws good volume. I think he mainly is able to keep it on the feet, takes over the longer the fight goes. And again, he throws good volume. Pace is going to be high. Maybe he can get a late 3rd round finish, something like that. Give me this fight, though. I love targeting clash of styles and DFS. Barriault advantage on the feet, Anders advantage on the mat. I'll have both sides, but I think Barriault gets the job done. And he has knockout upside in the decision. He can land over 100 significant strikes. So he has multiple paths to the optimal, which I like.
Yeah, I like the sound of this one here. You're not paying a premium for the upside, like 8,400, 7,800. Just by the way you talked about this, seems like one of the more appealing fights on the card in terms of just, raw fantasy points and the expectation there. So, yeah, I'm definitely gonna mark down this one. 8,400, 7,800. I mean, you can do a lot of different things with those price tags. So
the only concern fights like this when they don't get there, it's like Anders wins round 1, he controls it, he gets his 3 minutes of control time. Barriault doesn't score many points round 1. Then round 2 is the complete opposite. No takedowns for Anders. Barriault keeping it sit on the feet. He outpoints him that round. So then round 3, it's 1-1 where they negate himself as much, which is the reason I don't go all in on too many fights in MMA. Like you said, yeah, I'll be overweight, but that's the past where some of these fights don't get there. The clash of styles as much. Wrestler dominates one round, can't the other round. Then your round 3 is kind of a coin flip that way. But yeah, I like this one.
All right, 4 more to go. We have Dan Ige, Nate Landwehr.
I will say, would you play them both in your lineup together? No, that's the one thing in MMA. No. Do not play 2 fighters in the same lineup in GPPs.
Yeah, people try to make the case in the main event with the 5-round stuff, but man, it
works like once every 2 years, once a year. Maybe.
And then when it does hit, you're going to hear all about it because I told you can do it. Yeah, just definitely.
And there's still a chop sometimes with it. There's still chop sometimes with the stack fight. It's overowned.
Yes. Yep. All right, 4 more to go. Dan Ige, Nate Landwehr, and we got 9,100, 7,100. Ige minus 250. So that puts him up the list in terms of, highest win odds inside the distance, minus 150. So we have a fight here that is supposed to finish inside the distance after. Yeah, it's been a lot of. Yeah, no wonder you like this main card because it really starts to pick up here. Minus 150 to finish inside the distance. What are your thoughts here on this one?
Oh, yeah. Very, very excited for this fight. It could be fight of the night. Anytime Nate Landwehr gets in there, the dude's a wild man. He was a little more reserved last fight against Austin Lingo. Which gives me a little more hesitancy in this fight because Dan Ige, man, he's fought the best of the best. He's lost a lot of fights in the UFC, but dude, Korean Zombie, Josh Abbott, Masvidal Evlov, Calvin Kattar, Edson Barbosa, the dude has fought, you name it, he's fought it. And then he gets a step down in competition last time out against Damon Jackson. People finally jump off, and Dan Ige reminds everyone that there's levels to this stuff. Nate Landwehr, I don't think he's on Dan Ige's level. He's not a Masvidal Evlov. He's not a Korean Zombie. He's not a Calvin Kattar. So I'm going to pick Dan Ige. I don't think he's washed yet in his career. If he fights the best of the best, I think he loses. If he doesn't, if he fights a guy right around 15, something like that, I think he wins. But no, this fight, like talking about dogs are tough to come by in this card. Nate Landwehr is always a live dog. The dude will fight for your money. He will push a pace. He throws very good volume, lands 6.47 significant strikes per minute. Can mix in takedowns, averages 1.36. And Dan Ige, his takedown defense, where you can exploit him a little bit, 52%. So if Nate Landwehr wins, throws good volume, can mix in takedowns, I think he will have to have success getting takedowns, getting top control if he does win this fight. Nate Landwehr would definitely be one of my highest owned dogs, way in the lower tier, has all the upside that way. But I do think Dan Ige, lower volume, which I don't love, 3.8 significant strikes per minute. But, man, his power, when he does throw, the leg kicks, everything lands hard. Nate Landwehr has been hurt in multiple fights. I think Dan Ige knocks him out. I think Landwehr pushes a pace in this one. He makes it a brawl. I think Ige catches him at some point. If Landwehr wins, he's going to be on the optimal, and I'll be happy that way. If Ige wins too, though, I'll have plenty. You always got to love targeting Nate Landwehr fights. Nate the Train makes it really fun. Expect nothing different in this one. I'll be overweight on this fight, but I think Dan Ige knocks him out. But I might have more Landwehr than I do Ige just because of the prices and the nature of the slate needing a dog at the end of the day. So even though I pick Ige, maybe I do have more Landwehr just because of that price, but definitely a great fight.
So I've watched a lot of Ige's fights, and I just have not been impressed. Is it competition? Like he's faced like some of the better fighters?
Yeah, if you go right here, Imavov, complete stud. Josh Emmett be fighting Ilya next fight, stud. Korean Zombie's been there, done that. Calvin Cate, like that's death row right there. And his losses, he's fought, you name it. So then that's why he finally fights, stepped down last time against Damon Jackson, and he just walks right through him. So a lot of it's been level of competition. He is getting up there in age a little bit. But the thing about Dan Ige, too, the dude doesn't get knocked out. So Nate Landwehr, I mean, we said the same thing about Drew Dober. Eventually, everyone's chin cracks. Ige's hasn't, which is part of the reason I'm picking him too. But yeah, maybe Landwehr mixes in takedowns that way. But it's mainly like you're saying, the level of competition is why Ige hasn't performed.
That's one thing I've learned, man, from talking MMA with you. There's levels to this shit. That's what you always say, and I always remember it because it is a tough sport to look at the game log or the box score, because it's dependent on the level of competition. It's all, you can almost relate it to, I don't know if you're going to relate it to like MLB DFS. If a team's going into the Met Stadium, which is very pitcher friendly, versus a game in Coors, it's all relative to the circumstances. And MMA, the big thing is definitely the levels of competition,
especially like styles of fighters too. Like Movsar Evlov, like all the dude wants to do is take you down. Dan Ige's takedown defense isn't the best. Yeah, right there, you're already at a pretty big disadvantage heading into the fight. Gives up 9 takedowns and stuff that way. Where the level of wrestling is way different from Movsar to that. So yeah, it's level of competition, clash of styles, so much goes into it. And with MMA and all this, like, who knows how their camp's been? Who knows how their personal life's going? Some guys, you come up, they get on the post-fight interview, they're like, yeah, I haven't trained in a month. This has been going on in life. This has been going, like, you really just don't know what goes on with all this stuff. They're humans in 4-ounce gloves at the end of the day, which is why you can make a case for anyone. You can play underdogs. You can play low-owned fighters. We just saw Jamie Malarkey last week, the biggest favorite, highest owned guy. Right there, other dude breaks the slate. That's the beauty of MMA.
Yeah. All right, we have 3 to go. And just a reminder, if you are not a member at SHIPIT Nation, now is the time to get over there. SHIPITNation.com gets you access to everything on our website. We have MLB content right now, PGA content, MMA. Obviously, we're starting up this week, and then when NFL comes, we're going to have a full load of NFL content to get you to the winner's circle this season. So make sure to get on over now. Introductory price only lasts for 1 more week. Be a founding family member if you get in. Gets you access to over $6,000 in free rolls and giveaways. So make sure to get on over to SHIPITNation.com. Mike Malott, Adam Fugitt, and you have talked about Malott a couple times here, so I have a feeling that you're going to like him. 8,800. Fugitt, if that's how you pronounce his name, 7,400. Malott is minus 210 to win this fight, and this is the biggest inside the distance odds on the entire card, minus 350. What do you got here in this fight?
Yeah, you're going to need exposure to this one. Malott, minus 125 himself just to finish this fight, whereas you go over to Fugitt, 7,400. He's plus 280. So these inside the distance props, even for Fugitt, is better than most favorites on this card. And why that is, you look at Mike Malott, the dude just doesn't, when he fights, the fights don't go long. He's 9-1-1. All 10 of those, so 11 of those fights, obviously the one draw went to decision. But outside of that fight, all 10 of his fights have ended inside the first round. The dude gets in there and he gets out pretty quick. That hasn't fought as much either. Most of his fights is a lot of time off in between it. Only, he walks through Johan Lanes. It was no good. I'd call this a step up in competition. I mean, Adam Fugitt, he's a gamer. He's been underrated in the UFC, fights short notice. UFC debut, Omar Morales. Gave the dude a hell of a fight. Was in there in the third round. Took good shots. Gave Morales good shots too. Then beat the hype train as a big dog last time out against Kinoshita. So yeah, Fugitt, primary striker. He's a southpaw. Mixes up the kicks really well. Mixes it all three levels: body, head, leg. I absolutely love that. Will fight for your money. Can mix in takedowns too. He's a pretty solid wrestler there. So definitely a live dog in this one. We saw a lot of line movement in this one. Malott opened -335. Now sitting around -210. So books agree as well. A lot of people got on the dog money early with Fugitt. And I totally agree as well. If Mike Malott can't finish this fight in round 1, who knows how he's going to look in round 2? Who knows how he's going to look in round 3? He says in his interviews he has 15-minute cardio. Maybe he does, but we haven't seen it. Whereas Fugitt, I do trust that he has 15-minute cardio. I was so impressed with the Morales fight. I was impressed with his last fight. There's a lot of unknowns with Malott. Malott's going to be one of the highest-owned fighters on the card. When it all comes down to it, I think Fugitt, one of the better leverage plays on the slate. Of course, I'll have plenty of Malott. I want all of this fight. A fight that I think ends in round 1 for Malott. Otherwise, Fugitt finishes in round 2 or 3. Sign me up for this fight. But I'm taking the dog shot. There's not a lot of dogs I like on this card. Fugitt will fight for my dollar. I've been really impressed what he's done. Survive early. Don't get finished. Break. Use your cardio. Break Malott, and I think you're in for a big score. So yeah, plenty of this fight for sure. I'll take the dog shot on Fugitt though. Hope he survives early and finishes it late.
All right, 2 more to go, and a lot of names that I finally recognize now. We have Beneil Dariush and Charles Oliveira. Dariush favored -150. This fight is -260 to finish inside the distance. The one thing that immediately stands out to me with Oliveira, he's going to have to get a finish, I'd imagine, for him to be a guy you need, because he's not going to stand there and strike with you. He needs to get it to the mat. He needs to get Dariush to tap out. Dariush, I don't know a ton about him, but Oliveira is a guy that, man, I loved watching over the course of the last couple of years. Probably my favorite fighter just to tune in and watch. It was a fun ride until he got put in his place against your boy Islam not too long ago. I believe you had mentioned this fight was supposed to take place a couple months ago and then, rescheduled. Very curious to get your take on this one. What are your thoughts?
Man, it's a good one. I mean, Charles Oliveira, like you said, Islam, my boy. I was on Islam for that fight, but Charles is our boy. He made us plenty of cheese in that run. So Charles will always be my boy. Absolutely love Charles Oliveira. But, man, it's a tough fight. Yeah, this fight's supposed to take place a couple months ago. Oliveira to pull out. It was his back. So now we get it this weekend. Anytime you get Charles Oliveira fight, you're going to want to play both sides of it. The dude's an absolute wild man, reckless style, doesn't care. He'll walk through, he'll get you in your face. He'll throw nasty leg kicks. He has a mean jab. He has a good right hook. Like his striking progression from where he started in his career, when everyone called him a quitter and all that, where it's developed till now, is absolutely night and day. He could knock out Beneil Dariush, and I wouldn't be surprised. We've seen Dariush knocked out the Dragar Close fight. It was absolutely crazy. But we've seen Charles Oliveira knocked down multiple times. And the thing with Charles, and how I go and look at his fights, if Beneil knocks him down, like Gaethje did, like Poirier, all of that, and Charles Oliveira flops to his back hoop, like we always talk about, will they jump into his guard like Islam did? Islam jumped into his guard, arm triangle shortly after. Gaethje didn't jump in the guard. Poirier didn't jump in. Chandler jumped in for a little bit in that fight. I think Beneil will jump in that guard. Beneil's a very, very well-rounded fighter. He reminds me of everything like Charles on the feet, a great striker. Beneil throws very good kicks. I think the kicks will be a big thing in this fight. But I think Beneil can take down Charles Oliveira. Oliveira has bad takedown defense. That's because he doesn't care if he's taken down. The dude will try and work anything off his bat. He think he can submit you. I don't think he's submitting Beneil Dariush off his back. So I think if Dariush wants takedowns, he can stay safe on top. Takedowns, control time can rack up. On the feet, I think it's very close. I trust Beneil's durability a little more. And man, I think Beneil hurts Charles at some time, the over aggressiveness, something like that. Beneil's the steady fighter. I'll take the steady fighter in this one over the guy with the peaks and valleys. There's just way more of that with Charles. I think Beneil can break Charles. I think he can get takedowns. I think he can stay safe on top. Of course, I'm going to have Charles Oliveira. This fight, 8,600, 7,600. If you've watched any Charles fights recently, they don't last long. It says only a 3-round fight and not a 5. I don't think we're going to need 3 rounds anyway. I think it ends one way or the other. I'm going Beneil. Give me the steady fighter. Man, I think you can get takedowns. I think you will get takedowns. I think you will stay safe on top in this one. Hate picking against Charles again, but yeah, I think Beneil gets it done. And he's seen some line movement in this one. Like it was like minus 120 last week. Got up to minus 130. Beneil's sitting around minus 150 now. So money has been pouring in on him too. And Connor said that Beneil Gamrot fight was really impressive for sure. What he did to Gamrot. Gamrot's a complete stud, and Beneil really impressed me in that one. So
yeah,
Beneil it is for me.
Yeah, I might have more Beneil, in DFS, but man, I got to be rooting for my boy Charles regardless. I'd love to.
Well, that price tag, 7,600, it gets you a lot on a card with value stuff because if he wins, he's going to score.
He's scoring, he's scoring big. So it's like I definitely, my
ownership will follow though. Ownership will follow
for sure. Yeah, especially without many.
Yeah,
and people still look at when these big name guys are priced down.
Oh yeah,
they still want to play him. I mean, they still want to play him because this is the name. That's the name, and he's only 7,600. Like I got to be on him. That's the mindset there. So yeah, definitely a good fight to target, regardless if Oliveira does win. Like you said, he's putting up a big score. All right. The main event, Amanda Nunes versus Irene Aldana. Nunes favored minus 350 in this fight. Inside the distance, minus 275. You know this story with Nunes. She's an absolute beast. When she wins, she scores a shit ton of fantasy points. Most expensive fighter on the card, 9,500. Aldana is 6,700. What do you got here in the main event?
Yeah, Amanda Nunes will be the highest owned fighter on the card too, rightfully so. You get the 5 rounds. The big thing with this, so it was supposed to be the trilogy against Juliana Pena. Pena had to pull out. They gave it to Irene Aldana. I'm glad they gave it to Aldana over Raquel Pennington, who's the backup in this one. But Aldana's just a primary striker. She is a good striker. Throws solid volume, or she can't throw solid volume. She can get caught staring in the mirror, or she can throw solid volume. It depends on what her opponent does on the feet. However, when it gets to the mat, she can use her jiu-jitsu, pretty good grappling to use a leg lock to get up, threaten with an arm bar, threaten with different things like that. However, I don't think you're doing anything to Amanda Nunes when you're off your back as a primary striker. And how I think this fight goes on the feet, I think Aldana can win moments. I think it'd be closer to a coin flip fight if you tell me this fight just plays out on the feet. Nunes can be reckless. Aldana is a good counter puncher off her back foot. I think it's pretty close on the feet. But, man, I think we see the Amanda Nunes of last fight against Juliana Pena. She just put on her wrestling shoes, got takedowns at will, stayed safe on top, nasty ground and pound. I think we see multiple takedowns in this one. I think we see a lot of control time. We see ground and pound, and we know how scoring goes. Control time, takedowns equals big boy scores in DFS, especially when you have five rounds to work. I'll be eating plenty of chalk on Amanda Nunes. All the upside in the world, highest ceiling, highest floor, if floor is even a term in MMA DFS. But yeah, and as far as Aldana, I'll definitely have some because not only is it 5 rounds, she's very cheap. If she wins, she's almost certainly going to be on the optimal. On the feet, you can look at a path to victory. On the feet, she can win this fight. Stuff the takedowns, maybe her takedown defense. She's obviously had to work on it a lot. Maybe it's like the Alexa Grasso-Valentina fight. Very cheap. Dogs are tough to come by in this card. Every favorite wins. Just say even every favorite wins, and Aldana can last 5 rounds and she scores 50 as the dog. We have seen a loser be on the winner at times. We only have 11 fights and a good amount of big favorites. So I'll definitely have Aldana. Some Aldana. You get all the ownership leverage off of Nunes. Nunes, the highest owned fighter. Aldana will get some ownership, but man, a lot of lineups are dead if Aldana wins. A lot of Nunes lineups are dead. You get a leg up on the field that way. very cheap price tag. Again, I don't think she keeps it on the feet as much. I'll have way more Amanda Nunes, core play, highest owned fighter on the slate, rightfully so. But I think she gets the takedowns. If she doesn't, though, it's going to be greasy on the feet, man. Aldana, one of the better strikers Nunes has faced.
Any chance? Like, is there any chance for Aldana here? Like, whatsoever?
Yeah, yes. Because if she keeps it on the feet and striking, it's going to be competitive. And the thing with Amanda Nunes, at this point of her career, like her wife is like has a baby on the way. Like she's getting up there in age. Like we saw the first Juliana Pena fight where she was -1,000. She just hardly trained. Like she came in
and
there.
You can tell, man. I watched that entire fight. I mean, there was like no effort there. And she got to that second round and it was like she was like gassed.
Yeah. So like there's always that like who knows at this point of her life, like the lady goat, she's been doing this forever. Yeah. Like, but who knows if she comes in like that, she's gonna lose. Like once your cardio falls off, it doesn't matter. That's when we say, I wish I knew which Amanda Nunes we're getting. Are we getting the Juliana Pena first fight one? I don't think so. I think when she did lose, she figured it out. When she went back to the gym, how she looked in that second one, night and day, Amanda Nunes. You got to think that first loss woke her up. I'm going to expect the best Amanda Nunes. But like you said, does Aldana have a chance? If you see that first Amanda Nunes or just say she can't get takedowns or anything like that, Aldana definitely is a good striker and can win it that way. So, yeah.
Great breakdown, man. Great, not only in this fight, but, every single fight. We covered all 11. Any just like overall, not super deep strategy talk, but just like overall thoughts here on this card. And I know you'll put all your thoughts, obviously, onto the website, into the content, but just some basic, quick little, final thoughts on this card before we get on out of here.
Yeah, for sure. So you look at it, there's only 11 fights, so it's a lot less fights than usual. Like Connor's talking like Volk was on the optimal in a loss against Islam. On fights, like a card like this, it wouldn't shock me. We have a good amount of big favorites on the card. We got -300, -275s. Not many dogs win on this card, which I'm going based on that, which means right away, I don't think many dogs win on this card. That means I can't leave as much salary on this card, or I won't be leaving as much salary on this card than other cards. I think it's a slate to use a lot of more of your salary. Mix in a lower owned fighter. You don't want to just jam complete chalk in MMA. You'll be holding hands with 85 of your friends up top. MMA is a big sport. A lot of the edge is when you win, how much do you win? How little people do you share that lineup with? Whether if you win with 85 people, you get 5K back in the main thing. Of course, 5K is nice, but long term, you're going to be a losing player doing it that way. So build out your lineup. Make sure you mix in a lower owned fighter, something of that sort. I'm not leaving much salary on this card. I don't see many dogs come through. I think that's the main thing on this card to look at.
Yeah. All the content some of it's already up, and obviously you'll be working on it today into tomorrow. I'm assuming everything will be finalized tomorrow afternoon, be in the Discord, answering questions. I will be in there. I'm going to post a core after I analyze all titles and information. You're going to get that hoop core in the Discord. So you definitely got to get in there. And like I said, hey, I've had some success in DFS.
Yes, he has.
MMA, but I have to attribute it to my man Title. I mean, it's been my process for 3 years now. Right after COVID, got into UFC. Literally the only thing I look at is Title's breakdown. Now we have it here at SHIPIT Nation. Could not be more excited. Title's going to have a big role here, not only in MMA, NFL, MLB, NBA, best ball, everything we do here. My guy Title is going to have his hand on. So excited to have you here with us. So excited for this first MMA card, UFC card. Can't wait to get started. Any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
Yeah, man, it's nice being back talking sports with you. Who missed you? Yeah. Glad to be here. Love everyone in chat. Appreciate all the words. A lot of comments in here. Again, man, the community you guys have right now, we have over here at SHIPIT Nation is awesome. Appreciate everything. It was fun talking fights. Yeah, pay-per-view to start it off. Again, I wish it was more than 11 fights. But, man, it's fights on my screen. I'll never complain on a Saturday afternoon. A lot of money to be made. So Appreciate everything. And it was a fun one.
Yes, sir. And cannot wait to see those SHIPIT logos at the top tomorrow night. That is going to do it for this MMA show for Title. I'm Hoop. Let's ship it.